Hi, everyone. My name is Dan Bromberg. I'm the Director of Academic Programs for the Carsey School of Public Policy. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Robin Husledge and Nick Gosling. They'll be joining us after the presentation. Just a few notes before we get going. On Zoom, you should be able to see the Q&A feature, potentially the chat room feature, but I think we might have that off. But you could load any questions you might have for us in that Q&A feature. And when we finish the presentation, we'll stop the screen share and we'll jump on and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. The focus of today's presentation will primarily be on our new Masters of Public Administration, but I'll also cover our other 2-degree programs and a little bit more about the Carsey School. And then I'm happy to field questions about any of our programs or any other aspects of the Carsey School. So once again, my name is Dan Bromberg. Thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to a long conversation. So why the Carsey School? What about the Carsey School that makes it a great place to learn and to grow with some of your colleagues and get your graduate degree? The nice part about Carsey is that it's more than just academic programs. We have research centers, we have outreach and engagement, and then we also have our academic programs. So what we're able to do is really integrate all 3 of those areas. And our students are able to engage in community outreach, they're able to engage in research, and they're able to take their academic programs. So by combining these 3 efforts, students really do have quite a rich experience. For those of you familiar with New Hampshire Listens, that is our civic engagement initiative. And our students regularly do their Capstone experience or an internship with New Hampshire Listens. We have a number of different research centers looking at vulnerable populations and community development and finance. And our students, once again, can engage with those research centers in the work that they're doing. So really, it's broader than just the academic offerings. It's the opportunity to engage with everything that goes on at Carsey. We do have 4 academic programs. So we have 3 independent programs. One is a Master in Public Policy. We have a Master of Public Administration, and we have a Master in Community Development. And then as you'll see, that 4th is a dual degree, which is a Master in Public Policy and a Juris Doctorate, and that's with UNH Law School. So each of those degrees offer you something slightly different, which I'll talk about throughout this presentation. They all are public service and publicly facing degrees, but they offer you a different aspect of the public policy process. So our Master in Public Policy, this truly is, it's probably our most traditional master's degree program. Typically, we think about students in this program as joining a cohort and starting, in the fall for the most part, although you're welcome to start in the spring. And ideally, what you're doing here is you're learning both how to develop public policy, how to strategically communicate public policy, and how to assess or analyze public policy. This is a 40-credit program. There are 2 tracks associated with the MPP. There's either a policy analysis track or a strategy and communication track. Our students in this program really do love the experiential learning opportunities. We spend a week in Washington, D.C. during our Washington, D.C. colloquium. During that time, students are meeting with leaders across the policy ecosystem. We have meetings at the White House, we have meetings at the Pentagon, but we also have meetings in the private sector, meeting with folks who work in government affairs. It's a long week. Meetings start somewhere around 8 in the morning and typically run until about 6 in the evening, potentially with a dinner afterwards with one of our guests that we meet with. But that said, students get a whole lot out of it, both opportunities to network and simply just learn from professionals in the field. We also have an internship experience and a capstone project, which provides students with other experiential learning opportunities. And I'm happy to speak more about those if you are interested. For any of those of you that are at UNH already, we do offer an accelerated option, meaning that you could count some of your courses from your undergraduate program towards your graduate education. The Master of Public Administration, our new online program, which we're really excited about. The MPA historically has been offered in person, going on 40 plus years. However, over the last 7 to 10 years, we have been ramping up a lot of our online classes. And this past year, we decided that we were going to shift to an online Master's of Public Administration program. This is what we've been hearing from a lot of our colleagues and alumni and potential students from across the region, that this would make the program much more accessible. So from our perspective, the quality does not change. However, your accessibility to the program does, right? And ideally, you'll be able to access it easier than you were in the past. This program, if you think about the MPP as the development of public policy and advocacy for public policy, we really think about the MPA as the implementation of public policy. So not only how do we implement policies, but how do we manage organizations that are responsible for implementing policies? And that could be either a nonprofit organization or a government or public organization. And in either case, you're running a mission-driven organization in a heightened political environment. So how do we do that? How do we do that well? You can look here at our basic map of courses. So we have two opportunities here. We have an executive MPA program for those of you that have been engaged in the field for more than 5 years of relevant work experience. And then we have our traditional MPA program. Both of them are offered online. And you could finish them in about a year's time. So if you look here, if you were to do the executive program, you would start in August and you would conclude in July. And that's based on how we mapped it out with 2 courses at a time. For the more traditional MPA program, the 12-course route, you're still finishing in a relatively short period of time, starting here in August and finishing that following December. And with all of that, you know, you're walking out with a high quality degree that ideally is going to be more accessible to you because of the fact that it's online. And just to be clear, there's not a firewall between our online students and our in-person students. You're more than welcome to take courses in person if that's what you prefer. We have a number of in-person courses offered at our Durham campus, and other programs offer a number of in-person courses at the Manchester campus. So for example, if you're interested in some public health courses, you're always able to use your electives to do that. So the map that we sketched out is a bit of advice that we're giving you, right? It's an opportunity to follow this map and finish in the time period that we noted, but that's not to say that you couldn't carve your own path and mix and match some of the courses that we offer. The Masters in Community Development program is also offered online. And the difference with the Masters in Community Development, or the MCD as we call it, is I like to think about the MCD really as a ground up type program. So it focuses on communities, how to bring communities together, whether that be through economic development, public health challenges in local communities. And ultimately, it's managing those programs and projects that start at the ground level, yet need coordination across government, private, nonprofit sectors. And students really dig in and make a real impact in this program. Unlike our other programs where the Capstone project tends to be a culminating assignment, in the MCD program, the Capstone project starts almost immediately when you begin the program. You design that, you learn how to manage it, you learn how to communicate with the community that you're going to be engaged with, and then ultimately you evaluate that project. So throughout your entire time in the program, you're working through your Capstone project. It's a 36 credit online program. There are 9 core requirements and then 3 electives associated with that. And we've mapped out different paths for you depending on how much time you could spend taking courses versus how much you need to balance the other demands of life. The other opportunity, which we're really thrilled about presenting, is this idea of adding a graduate certificate. So we've highlighted 6 different graduate certificates at the universities, all of which match extremely well with our programs. And without spending any more time or any more money, you could get yourself this extra credential by taking courses in data science, let's say. So if you're enrolled in the Masters of Public Policy program, what we've done is we've really mapped how that data science graduate certificate fits with the MPP, we're able to take some of those courses as your elective courses, and one of those courses as your core course. And then in total, you're finishing with both credentials, that master's degree and a certificate in one of these fields. So we really would encourage you to take advantage of this, as you can really get the best out of UNH while you're with us. And once again, spend no more time and spend no more money while you're going about accomplishing those two credentials. Just to give you a sense of some of our graduates truly are all over the world. We have graduates that are working internationally. We have graduates that work for the state. We have graduates that work for nonprofit organizations, graduates in Washington, D.C. and Massachusetts, throughout the delegations, both within New Hampshire and more broadly. So we do have a robust alumni network that we'd love for you to join. We'd love to connect you with, and we'd love for you to take the opportunities of working with them across all of the various fields that they're in. So what do you need to apply? Well, you need your transcripts. You need a personal statement, which I would say is something that we pay careful attention to. It allows us to see how well you write and why you're interested in pursuing a degree with us. We need 3 letters of recommendation, and those could be either professional or academic. We need a resume, and now test scores are actually on hold for the time being for our MPP program, and the other programs don't require test scores. If you're an international student, we do require the TOEFL score. If English is one of your languages, either your first language or a second language, and you're proficient, you are able to request a waiver of that TOEFL test. And then there is an application fee. So our tuition looks like this. We charge per credit hour. What I will say is that the Carsey School does offer scholarships and fellowships. So I would encourage you to talk with one of us in admissions rather than just looking at that price and letting that worry you. Ideally, we're able to get to a place where this degree is both of value to you and you get the quality that you're looking for. And we try to meet you where you need to be. These are all of our various partners where there are a number of different incentives for you to pursue a degree with us. So if you fit into one of those categories, then please look at our partnership page, and there are various education awards associated with them, and those help to alleviate some of the financial burden. But once again, what I would say is visit us at the Carsey School webpage and reach out either to myself, Dan Bromberg, Sanjeev Sharma in admissions, or Robin Husledge, my colleague who's actually joining us today. And we're more than happy to work through any of these challenges with you and try to find a solution that fits. So with that, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Robin and I are here to answer any of your questions.
We have a few questions that have come in, Dan. Let me see. I'll start with the first one. In the Masters of Public Policy, is the policy analysis side of it mostly quantitative or qualitative analysis?
It's a good question. I mean, I guess it ultimately comes down to what you want to pursue. So we are less prescriptive in the analysis classes that you have to take. So what we do is we have a range of different classes that count for policy analysis. Everyone takes our statistics course, which is a core class. And then to fulfill those 2 other classes, you could either pursue some more of the data science analytics type classes, or you could pursue some more of the classes that might be closely related to sociological research, depending on what you're interested in. So we're not prescriptive there, and we would support and encourage students to pursue what they're really looking to do.
Great. Another question is, I received an email a few months back that there is a $5,000 scholarship opportunity for Carsey Master's students. Does this still apply to online MPA students?
I guess without knowing what that was specifically in reference to, it's hard for me to say. There are a number of scholarships that are available through our various partners. If it is, if it's a scholarship that was through one of our partners or a relationship that we have, then by all means, it is available to Masters of Public Administration students. But without knowing the particular scholarship, it's hard for me to say, yes, right off the bat. What I could say is we definitely will work with students and try to, accommodate their needs.
Another question is, do courses have prerequisites to apply?
Courses, so the programs do not have prerequisites as of now. The Masters of Public Policy, we are in the midst of discussing whether or not we should be thinking about an economics course. We do offer an economics course for public policy, and we do think a macroeconomics course would certainly be helpful. So we look at transcripts for that, but at this point, it's not a prerequisite.
A further clarification on the original $5,000 scholarship question was related to semester in the city, alumni.
Yeah, great. So yeah, completely. We love semester in the city alumni.
Awesome. Let's see, some other questions came in. For the MPA Capstone project, do you assign them or do you assist students in connecting with organizations for their Capstone project?
We typically assist students to connecting with organizations. If a student comes in with a very specific idea and a partner that they know they want to work with, then we'll support them in pursuing that. But primarily, we work through that idea as a team and ultimately help connect students to these organizations.
Great, thanks. For the executive MPA, would I be able to take only one course per term if desired to lighten my workload?
Yeah, by all means. So we've mapped it out so you're going 2 courses per term. That said, by all means, students are able to pursue at their own pace. And if that means 1 course per term, then that's perfectly fine. What's good to remember is that there are 10 courses in total, one of those courses being your capstone. So ultimately, however many courses at a time you take, that's going to lead to that final product. So if you want to go for, it would be 2 years then, because there are 5 e-terms per year.
Great. Another question related to this one is the online MPA. Can they finish it in 12 months by taking 3 courses for 2 of the e-terms?
Without the executive, I'm assuming is the question? Yes.
Right, just the online MPA.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it will be a heavy load for those 2 terms, no question. But if you feel like you can manage that, and after taking a couple semesters of 2 classes, you feel like you could ramp it up, by all means, you could do that.
Another question is the go at your own pace option available for all of the programs?
It is available for all of the programs. I will, just to, be clear about this, the MCD program and the MPA program typically have more mid-career professionals that are going part-time. The MPP has some, right, where I would say maybe it's 30% of the MPP program are mid-career professionals or folks who are just taking, 1 or 2 courses at a time. So yes, by all means, you can do it. It just will look slightly different, and you just need to work with your advisor closely to make sure that you're getting what you need.
Another question is, are the courses asynchronous? And another question from the same person, are there any research assistantships opportunities, especially for the online MPA program?
Great questions. Primarily, the courses are going to be asynchronous. That said, faculty do have discretion. And what that looks like is typically a faculty member will talk to the students at the beginning of a semester and say, every Tuesday night, I am going to hold, a 3-hour session if you want to drop in with me. Typically, they're not going to be mandatory, but there'll be opportunities to engage with each other and engage with with your faculty. We will reserve a night for each class to make sure that, just in case faculty decide to do that, that you're not going to be overlapping with other classes. As far as research assistants go, typically our fellowships, which is what we call research assistants, are reserved for our MPP students. And that's primarily the case because they tend to be our only students that are going full-time and are also based out of Durham, in that it is an in-person program in Durham. And most of our research work, while now is not the best example, it's typically done in person as well. That said, if you're a full-time MPA student and you are, residing in the area, it would certainly be a conversation we'd be open to pursuing, but it's not something that's typically done.
I will also say that we often get information from other organizations or departments within UNH that are offering fellowship type programs like the Sustainability Institute. So we always post those out to our students. Another question is, could you talk more on potential careers and career support?
I guess I would need to know for what. So if it's a specific degree, I think I could answer it better. So could we follow up on that, and is there a specific degree you're referencing?
So career support for the MCD, please.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think, Robin, you could probably talk about that as well as I can. I mean, MCD, the beauty of MCD is that you're embedded in the field kind of throughout your program. So, whether you're already working, frequently it's at the place of where you're already working. But if that's not the case, our goal is to connect you with an organization. And, part of that thinking is, where do you want to be 3 to 5 years from now, right? We're not going to connect you with an organization that you have no interest in that field. So that opportunity to network and build relationships is really a great opportunity. And then I would say just the Carsey network itself really does build into future careers and connecting our students. And all of us are super engaged in that process and trying to help our students find those placements. And I don't know if there's more you want to add to that, Robin.
Well, I would just say that we do get organizations that reach out to us looking for people with those skill sets. And so again, we post those. We have an alumni Facebook page, and any opportunities that come along, we post them there. Or if they're more specific, where if just an alum comes to mind, we will reach out personally to those people. Another question the same person had was, how does the advisor-advisee relationship work?
So there are really 2 steps to our advising process. The first step is more of a general map, which is done with our colleague Sanjeev, who's not on with us today. And what Sanjeev essentially does is he says, here is the map, a kind of typical map for how you'd pursue this degree. And then you're assigned a faculty advisor, so either myself or my colleague Carolyn Arkan. And that we work more towards kind of your particular academic goals and your particular career goals. And then we help to shape that program, right? So whether it's through electives, and just deciding on ideas behind capstones and things like that. And Sanjeev actually plays that role with MCD quite heavily as well. So, once we map out where you're going to be, we kind of get more into the nitty gritty and the details of what's going to work particularly for you.
Let's see. The question is, how easy is it to juggle work, family, and pursuing an online MPA?
I love that question. It's hard. I wouldn't say otherwise. But what I would say is that all of our students in the MPA program and most of our students in the MCD program, do that. And I think this idea of going at your own pace and balancing, your family, career, and your graduate degree is something that we support you in, something that our faculty are very aware of, and something that is certainly doable, right? In the fact that, we have over 800 alumni that have kind of gone through and done that. But there's no question it's a balance, right? And everyone needs to move at their own pace and find what works for them.
Okay, I think that's all the questions that have been posted so far.
Great. Well, thank you all for joining us. And like I said, please feel free to reach out to, either Robin or myself or to Sanjeev. We're happy to, pursue any questions further with you, get you any more details that you need, or just work with you through the application process. And we're here to support you. So good luck to all of you. It was a pleasure speaking with everyone. And we look forward to seeing your names come through our application processes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.